What's going down, you filthy animals? It is your boy Pelon bringing it down to you here from the Boost Hub. On today's video, we're going to show you how to do a wet sand and compound polish on any kind of metal material, whether it's your exhaust, your wheels, or the Tin Man from the Wizard of Oz, so we can get you shining like Paul Wall's grill. Let's get it.
3, 2, 1.
Alright y'all, let's go ahead and get you prepped and ready. For today's job, we're going to need sandpaper ranging from 400 grit all the way up to 3000. You'll need your water spray bottle, and for the polishing compound, we use the black, white, and green, and of course you're going to need your polishing wheel here as well. Let's go ahead and get started with that. Let's go ahead and get started with the 400 grit. So if you haven't wet sanded before, what you're going to want to make sure you do is you at least soak it for 15 minutes prior. The important thing to remember is that your sandpaper will work best if it's saturated. We keep the surface saturated just to make sure it consistently stays working and just to help the process overall. Now with wet sanding at 400 to 600 grit, this is most effective at helping keep the surface smooth without causing these deep scratches. Now if you have any kind of surface rust, anything like that, starting at 400 will actually help clear off any of that surface rust. But you have to make sure you stay consistent. If not, you're going to be working harder with other grits to just even everything out thereafter. We're going to keep on moving up, so the next step will be 1500 grit. So as you move up, you want to make sure that you do stay consistent with your small circles and light touch. At 1500 grit, this is the first stage to work towards a polishable surface. The main point of this step is to remove any kind of scratches there were prior, and then any scratches that were left behind from the prior grit as well. If you're doing it right, by now your forearms may be getting tired. Let's go ahead and move up to the 2000 grit. Now, as we move to the finer grit, we continue to keep working to remove all those scratches all around. So you're just staying consistent just so that we can get that polishable surface. And if you're not using that spray bottle, you can also use just a small Tupperware of water nearby just to keep your sandpaper hydrated there. You're at the sandpaper finish line, guys. Let's get it with the 3000 grit. So just like we said, you are at the sandpaper finish line, guys. I'm sure those forearms are hurting. This grit here is actually working to make your buffing easier, which will continue to work the muscles in. So just make sure that you're just keeping it consistent all the way to the finish line here. For the compound finish, guys, we're going to keep things simple. We're going to start off with the black, leading off to the white, and then finishing it off with the green. By the time we get to the green, it should be shining like the silver caps you used to see on all those bad kids running around back in the day. I'm just playing, y'all. Let's get started. Now, starting off with your black compound, will work to remove any of the 400 to 600 grit scratches that were left behind. Now, make sure not to overdo it with the compound, because if not, you're going to have to work even harder to take off the scuff marks that are left behind there. You should already see the difference from here to there. I don't know if you're able to check that out, but there is a big difference there. Now, with this black compound, you're going to want to make sure to stay patient and take your time all around. This step here is going to remove all the scratches that may have not been able to get done by the wet sanding itself. Make sure you get into all the nooks and crannies and just really take your time overall. From the side profile, you can really start to see that shine come out. And this is just the first step, guys. Just make sure to stay patient, get inside those nooks and crannies, and rest assured you are going to get that mirror finish at the end. It does take time, but you will get there. So I switched attachments to be able to really get inside those small edges that I couldn't get with the other attachment. This is something you can find on Amazon, and I will have everything listed in the description. Now, with the white compound, we do move over to this softer attachment. The white compound itself is used to polish these hard metals like stainless steel, chrome, and it's going to give you that bright shine, which you'll start to see come out. As you see that shine come out, you may be getting excited. Just make sure you don't rush into it. Take your time with all these areas so that way you could just get that bright shine at the very end. Through this learning experience, a word of advice that I would give to myself and anyone else would be just to have something stabilize what you're working with. Working with wheels has been easier, but with this exhaust that moves all over the place, it just made the job a little harder. It wasn't impossible, but it was just the consistency of having to keep it stabilized that just made it a little bit harder there. So, not sure if anybody has noticed this or not, but a cool thing about this exhaust is that it is a rare JDM part. It comes off the Integra Type R. It is the Mugen Racing twin loop exhaust. I've loved collecting parts over the years, and this was just too good of a deal to pass up on, and by now it's probably already gone because I did a raffle off for this for all my new followers at that time. Now, one thing to keep in mind with all these attachments is they will all have their own friction level, which again, don't overdo it with the compound itself, because if not, you are going to work harder to try and take out any kind of scuff marks. Now, as we move over to the green compound is the final buff. This final buff is the final buff that will give you that mirror shine, y'all. So this way, by the time that you are done, you are going to be shining bright like Paul Wall's grill, man. And I'm telling y'all, it is going to be worth it in the end. This may have taken some time, it may have taken some work, but by the time you finish, it is going to be night and day.
All right, y'all. We have made it to the finish line. If you made it this far, I commend your patience. All that hard work to get us this mirror disco ball finish to have you shining bright like Paul Wall's grill. Now, you remember you could do this on any kind of metal surfaces, whether it's your wheels, your exhaust. Hell, you could even try and shine those silver caps on those bad kids, but I wouldn't recommend it, y'all. Again, if you like what you've been seeing, if this helped in any kind of way, feel free to like and subscribe, and I will see you on the next episode of the Porn Hub. I'm just kidding. The Booze Hub, guys. I'll see y'all next time. All right.